Today on Inside Utah Politics, the battle over the dual path to the primary. We're checking in with Keep My Voice to discuss their effort to get Count My Vote off the ballot and what they're doing now as the issue heads to court. Plus, the primary election has set the stage for November. Our panel will weigh in on the results from Tuesday night and take a look ahead to the general election.
Time now for Inside Utah Politics.
Good Sunday morning, and thanks so much for joining us for Inside Utah Politics. I'm Glenn Mills. Senate Bill 54 has created a sharp divide within the Utah Republican Party. The controversial law created a dual path to the primary, convention, and signature gathering. Ever since it took effect, caucus and convention supporters have been fighting back. The issue appeared to be headed to voters of Utah this year, but Keep My Voice successfully led a campaign to remove signatures and keep Count My Vote off the ballot. Now, Count My Vote is asking the Utah Supreme Court to step in and put that initiative on the ballot. Brandon Beckham is the director of Keep My Voice. He joins us now this morning to talk more about this issue. Brandon, welcome to Inside Utah Politics. Great to have you with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I do want to mention before we get started, I did invite a representative of Count My Vote to come and participate on this show, and they did decline, so I just want to get that disclaimer out real quick.
Okay.
Brandon, let's start with the background. How did Keep My Voice come about? Walk us through that.
Yeah, thanks. So in 2013, when Count My Vote was first in the start of their process of getting going with their first petition, back in that time, there was really no opposition. And in Utah County, I got together with some other supporters that were passionate about the issue. And I went to the county leadership and I asked them, I said, hey, could we, put together some type of committee to educate people on the merits of the caucus system and help them understand what's happening with this issue. They said, yeah, sure, go ahead, and we'll back you, go ahead and form that committee. And so we formed the committee, and that was Keep Our Caucus, and then the Utah County helped to support that committee, and then we branched off into our own pack and pick. And from there, Keep Our Caucus went over for the next few years, and then we went to court over the SB 54 in 2015 where we won. Some of the law was struck down as unconstitutional, and at that point it was kind of in litigation on and forth because they were still dealing with the other parts of the bill. And so then when Count My Vote came back with another petition this go around, this election cycle, we decided to get together, myself and Dave Bateman, who is the CEO of Entrada, really good guy who actually has a lot of passion for the caucus system and just in holding government accountable. And we both retooled it and decided we would go with Keep My Voice and bring in people and unite them again with the movement.
You mentioned the court system, and it has gone all the way up to the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. I want to get more into that a little bit later because you are right, there have been some victories along the way, but yeah, by and large, the courts have upheld that. We'll get more into that in just a sec. But what's your ultimate goal? You would like to do away with the signature path altogether and just stick to the traditional caucus convention system. Is that what you hope to see?
Well, the signature path, again, is always available. I think one of the things...
The way it sits now, though.
The way it sits now, it hasn't. But before, for those who didn't want to participate in caucus, there's always been a signature path there. Actually, it had a lower threshold. So if you wanted to go unaffiliated and go signature route, you could get on the ballot with 1,000 signatures. For Senate, I believe, is what they have for under unaffiliated path. And so
key there, though, being unaffiliated.
Unaffiliated, correct, right. But those who, we think that the signature path doesn't have accountability. And the reason why is because what we see is candidates will pay big money for a company who then is responsible for gathering those signatures for them. They don't care about the candidate, they don't care about the process or what's happening really. All they care about is getting the signatures. And so what we see and what we find is there's a lot of fraud involved. For example, they're paid per signature. And so they'll hold multiple petitions at once too. And so a lot of times they'll go out there and say whatever they have to do to appease the signer to sign that petition and get them on there. We had cases where people would say, hey, this is for Mitt Romney. when it's not, right? But because Mitt Romney is a big name, yeah, I'll support it, you know, or it's for the medical marijuana thing. And so there's a lot of forgery, there's a lot of fraud, and that's why we think it's a bad process.
And there have been incidences, we'll throw that out there right
Yeah.
now, I believe in Weber and Davis County, where criminal charges have been filed against specific canvassers.
Yeah, in Washington County too, and
Okay.
we actually there was another case in Summit. We just talked to Summit County, and they were investigating forgery too, and so it's not something that just is a one little case incident. It's happened a lot.
Yeah, but I mean those allegations I've seen kind of flying from both sides though.
Sure.
I know that right now, according to the Lieutenant Governor's office, some of the signatures you guys gathered to remove are potentially being looked over for forgery as well.
Oh, there's no forgery there that we're aware of.
But the AG has been turned over potentially signatures that could have been forged. So that's my point is these allegations seem to be flying on both sides.
Well, we don't know anything about that other than we heard that they're looking into something, and we haven't heard anything back from that. So I have no comment on that specifically, but I can tell you with Keep My Voice, we have always held the highest standards, making sure we've done background checks for all of our guys that have worked with us. We train in-house. We try to make sure they understand the issues and everything. It is, like I said, with the signature process for getting candidates on the ballot and initiatives in general, it's not a good system. There needs to be some reform put together.
I think that's something people on both sides are definitely saying
we
at
can
this
agree
point.
on that, yeah.
Let's talk about the signature removal process. Definitely within your right to do.
Right.
But why did you feel so strongly about doing that? Why not at that point just let it go to the voters and let the voters decide on this once and for all?
Sure. Well, the thing that people should understand is Keep My Voice always was going to go reach out to Count My Vote signers. That was our plan to start with. We want to reach out to them because they haven't had someone tell them the other side of the story. And if they do change their mind, we want to provide them an opportunity to remove their name from that petition. But back to the other part of your question, dealing with why didn't we let it go to a vote, the problem is when you wait till November to speak to millions of people in the election cycle as opposed to reaching out to those who actually are supposable supporters of the petition. It's a lot more, it's easier, right? It's easier, there's less resources involved, and we have door-to-door conversations with people that actually said that their names are on it, and we can say, hey, did you know you were on this petition? And we're finding a lot of people, unfortunately, they didn't even know they were on that petition, like 70%.
70% of the people you talked to told you they didn't even know they were on the petition.
Not only that, but 70% of the people said that they didn't know that they were on this petition, or within that 70%, people are saying...
So a canvasser comes to the door with multiple petitions and they don't even know which one they're signing, is what you're saying.
Exactly. Well, then there's some people who said that their names were forged. He said, I didn't sign any petition this year at all. So what does that tell us? We don't know, so they're removing their name. So we estimate approximately, based on our survey and our time at the door, about a little bit less than 30% are actual intentionally knew what they were signing.
Okay, I have about a minute left, but I want to get to one more point. Let's take a look at what has happened at the caucus and in the primary since this law has been intact, because this is where your opposition gets a lot of ammunition. Let's just take this week's primary results, for example.
Sure.
Mitt Romney loses at convention, wins big in primary. John Curtis last year didn't even make it out of convention, ends up being the representative.
Yeah.
A lot of people point to that and say that is proof that delegates are not in touch with the average voter. Your response to that, I have about 30 seconds.
Sure. Well, first of all, they both went through the caucus. Curtis was selected at convention as well. He was selected by a pretty good margin, actually, this go around.
Yeah, he just barely missed. I was referring to last year when I said he didn't even make it out.
Okay, well, that was a different situation, but you had a special election. You also had 3 people that were in the primary, so the conservative vote was split between Curtis and Dan Ainge, and so it was a little different. We even know from people that have worked for Curtis in his campaign have said that if it wasn't for Ainge, he probably would have never won. As far as Mitt Romney goes, congratulations to his campaign. Congratulations to Curtis's too.
But is it proof that delegates are out of touch with voters?
No, because half the delegates actually said that Mitt Romney was their nominee. And Mitt Romney is a juggernaut. I mean, that guy has a great name ID. And a lot of us were surprised that he didn't win convention.
All right, I'm going to have to end it on that note. We will continue to see how this plays out and potentially invite you on the show again if we have some major developments.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Coming up, one initiative we do know will be on the ballot is Medicaid expansion. After the break, we're going to check in with organizers of the Utah Decides Healthcare. Stay with us.